I'm Missy Hughes, CEO of the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation, and it is Monday morning. Welcome, everybody. I'm out in southwestern Wisconsin. Listen, I know there's been a lot going on, and it's been a hard few days here in Wisconsin and around the country. We've got some news to share about some upcoming announcements and what's been happening at WEDC, so I'm going to share that with you this morning. Part of it is an announcement about CARES Act funding and the application process for that, which is really going to help small businesses. So we actually do have some really important news to share today, because that's going to really help our small businesses get back on track. Besides everything that's happened in the last few days, we have had a global pandemic hitting Wisconsin since the beginning of March, and our small businesses have been really impacted. And so we want to make sure we keep that conversation going amidst everything else that's happening. So the first thing I want to talk about is something that we launched last week that I'm really excited about, which is the Main Street Marketplace. So WEDC, over the course of the last 25 years, first as the Department of Commerce and then as the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation, created what's called Main Street communities. So all around Wisconsin, we have 34 Main Street communities that have come together as a community and said, we want to revitalize our Main Street. Our Main Street is the heart and soul of our community, and we want to make sure it's strong. We want to make sure that the downtown storefronts are occupied, and that we're doing things that keep people coming back, keep not only locals shopping local, but invite visitors to come and participate in commerce in the community. So the Main Street Marketplace is an online marketplace for businesses that are part of our Main Street communities. So at mainstreetwi.com, we have launched this online marketplace of 230 businesses all around the state that you can shop at right now by logging on to that website, and you can search for apparel, toys, books. You can filter all these different shops around Wisconsin and help them come back from having been closed, and help them continue to keep our downtowns vibrant throughout Wisconsin. I was on there the other day looking at one of my favorite shops here in Viroqua, and I all of a sudden found myself looking at a store in Door County and then a store in Dodgeville. So all of a sudden you can travel all around the state and support these businesses. And you can imagine that, you're a small business on a main street. It's been quiet for a couple months, and you really need to diversify. You need to have this flexibility, and what a great way to be able to do that. So again, it's mainstreetwi.com, and I invite you to go there and check it out. We're going to be adding new businesses. If you're a Main Street business in one of our communities, you can sign up to have your online store there listed and available, and be able to have folks access it there. So we're really excited about that. The other thing that happened over the course of the last few days was our Ethnic Minority Emergency Grant Program. So if you have been with us, you'll know that this is a grant program designed to help those micro businesses in our state, the businesses with less than 5 employees. And we had an application process for the grants that are available through that program. The application process closed, but we received over 1,100 grants, which is great. It's right on target for hopefully what we're going to be able to make available to folks. And as we process those applications, we expect to be able to turn those grants around in the next coming weeks and get those dollars out onto the streets, helping those micro businesses. So that's great. The last thing that has happened is, we continue to have businesses grappling with the challenges of reopening in the face of COVID-19, and we have guidelines online. I want to remind you about that at wedc.org. Those guidelines are general guidelines for how to approach reopening your business. Again, the cleaning, the sanitizing, the social distancing, how do we take that on? Questions about PPE can be answered there. And also, what do I do if I have an employee that gets ill? What we have online for businesses are 16 sets of guidelines that a business can use, whether you're a hairstylist or a childcare facility, a restaurant. So your specific business, you can look at these guidelines and think about them. We're developing checklists that will help you. You can print off a checklist and you can walk around your shop or your cafe and be able to think about, again, what do I need to be doing to make sure that my employees and my workers and my customers are all safe and my community is safe. We are all in this together, and these checklists and guidelines will really help you provide help you get the information that you need and provide that safety to your stakeholders. So then let's get down to business about what we're announcing today. So we have announced and have been working on with the governor's office the CARES Act funding that Wisconsin was able to receive. So every state received a large sum of money to help with the costs incurred in COVID-19, things like testing and healthcare workers and setting up frontline hospitals. And there was also the ability to use some of that funding for economic development to help those businesses that have been most impacted. And so the We're All In initiative is the economic development effort by the administration, by the state government to help small businesses get back on their feet. And at WEDC, we are excited to be able to help participate in getting these dollars out. So this is a $75 million fund that we're going to distribute to 30,000 businesses all around the state in increments of $2,500. The application process for that will be open on June 15th until June 21st. So it's really important to realize the application process is not open yet, but we want to get the word out to you. We want to give you the time to look at the application, to think about getting your paperwork together. We're trying to make it really, really simple and straightforward, but at the same time, there's a process involved, and so we want to give you a heads up about that. So 2 weeks from now, on June 15th, the application process will open, and we're going to have it open for an entire week. So, where you've heard about the challenges with first come, first serve and websites crashing, we're really trying to avoid that. We know there's going to be a lot of interest in this program, but we also want to be able to work with you. If you're a small business owner, you've got a lot going on as you're facing challenges either with COVID-19 or just running your small business or with the events of the last week. We know you're going to need some time to be able to get online and get your application processed. So I'm going to walk you through the eligibility and other things that you might want to know about it, but it's really important to keep in mind that it's our effort here to help Wisconsin's smallest businesses. There have been a lot of programs available for a lot of different types of businesses, but some of these small businesses have fallen through the gaps of programming. It's just hard to get in the door for some of these big federal programs. And so our effort with the $75 million is recognizing, it's not going to help every business, but we're hoping that it'll give that grease of the wheels to be able to get your business reopened and get rolling again. So to be eligible for this program, you need to have less than 20 full-time employees. And, that means you can be a sole proprietor all the way up to 20 full-time employees, and we'll help you understand how to account for that if you have part-time employees and things like that. But it's 1 to 20 employees. If you're a sole proprietor, you can apply. You have to have $1 million or less in annual revenue. So again, looking for these small businesses that are working day to day to make our communities vibrant. And, these aren't the monster corporations. This is small businesses that have been impacted from the very beginning. If you recall, we had the COVID-19 crisis start to hit in beginning of March. And at that time, we went from just being able to move about freely, everything happening, to having no more than 50 people gather at one time. And then we went down to 10. And then we shut in at home. And, during the course of that, these small businesses, the shops and the cafes were the ones that were most impacted. Hairstylists and barbershops had to close their doors. And so these are the ones that we want to try and reach. They've been shut from the very beginning, and they're only now just getting reopened. And we want to provide a little bit of help to get that rolling again. you need to be Wisconsin based and you need to be a for-profit business. Those are pretty straightforward qualifications. And then one thing that I really want you to think about and to be aware of is you need to have been in business since before February of 2020. And if you think about it, this isn't the easiest thing to try to learn about a business. And so what we're asking you to do is to just get a letter or an email from a local organization that can help say, yep, this business was rocking before February and has been impacted. We have sample emails and letters online, but this is one of the reasons we want to give you a heads up about the application process opening in 2 weeks, because we want to make this, again, as simple and as straightforward as possible. There is a list online right now at WEDC.org of the types of organizations you can get a letter from, whether it's a local economic developer or your chamber of commerce. There's all sorts of different community organizations that you can get a quick letter from, and we want to give you a heads up to be able to get working on that so that you have it ready. The other things that you're going to want to have ready when you do the application are your 2018 or your 2019 income tax return, and you'll need to upload that, and then also your W-9, which is available at the IRS.gov. And again, we're going to have hopefully really good instructions to help you be able to learn about what you need to do and have it ready. We'll have we have frequently asked questions already online for you to be looking at, but we'll also have the ability for you to submit a question if you need help with something, and we've got folks ready to be helping with that. We know that there's a lot of confusing information out there. We're trying to make this, again, as simple and straightforward as we can, but we're working through that. Hey, I'm just going to also tell you that there's the ability to ask me a question. If there's something that comes up that you're thinking about now, I've got a chat room available, and you can send something through there if you need to ask me a question. So the application process is not open yet. It is available. It's going to be available starting at 8 a.m. on June 15th, and it will be open for a week, which I think is 12:59 p.m. on June 21st. The idea there is that you'll have the time to settle in, look at the application process, and be able to not feel that you have to get it in ahead of everybody else, otherwise you'll lose out. We do have this process for asking for a letter, and so we're hoping that you will make sure that you're thinking about that ahead of time so that you don't feel pressured and stressed about getting that done. As far as using the funds, so if you are the recipient of a $2,500 grant, you can use these funds for anything. There's no restrictions on it. You can use it for expenses. You can use it for payroll, inventory, any kind of wages that you need to pay, PPE purchases if you need to make those. Those are all these expenses are eligible. We won't be tracking how these dollars are used. Again, we're trying to stimulate, to provide some grease to businesses to get rolling again. There will be an effort to have this be statewide. And so we've got small businesses, all 72 counties are included, and especially in economically distressed communities, we're going to be looking to deploy these funds and help businesses in those areas. So this will be a process of reviewing the grants, and then we have a scoring that we'll be doing. If you've received dollars from WEDC or the Small Business Administration, that will not eliminate your eligibility for these funds, and that's really important to keep in mind. We are also going to ask folks to commit as they take these funds to being a part of We're All In. And so what this really is an effort to have folks understand that the safety of workers and the safety of their customers and the safety of the community is really important in this time. As a reminder, COVID-19 is highly, highly contagious, and we won't have a vaccine for a good bit of time yet. And so we need to be taking actions right now that will remind us all that we're part of a community, remind us that all around us there are vulnerable folks, whether they're immune compromised or elderly, and we need to be thinking about our neighbors. And so we're all in Wisconsin. We're all in this together, and we need to be working together. So we're going to create a community of businesses that have received these grants, and we're going to create a community of communities that have businesses that are a part of this grant, and we're going to create a state that is we're all in. And so as you receive this grant, there'll be just a short commitment to taking care of the safety of your employees and your customers and your community. And we really hope that by having everyone kind of just, raise their hand and say, yeah, I'm in on this, we will be making an effort to create this consciousness about what we need to do in Wisconsin to stay safe, to keep our economy rolling, and to keep things moving forward. I have a question that came up in my chat room, so I'm excited. This is my first question. When will the funds be distributed? So we are making an effort to have the funds start getting out by the end of June. So again, our application process is from June 15th to June 21st. We've got people ready. We've got processes ready to work through those applications and start moving dollars out as quickly as we can towards the end of June and then rolling into July. It is, not always easy to set these things up, but the team at WEDC has been just absolutely dedicated to rolling these things forward and making this happen. One thing I also want to add is the importance of making sure that your application is complete before you submit it, so that we're sure we don't want to have any problems with your application. And so walking through and taking the time to do it and making sure we've got all the information that you need, because we won't be able to complete your application and include it in the grant process. You can apply, again, just to be sure, at wedc.org. And it's really important, you can go there now and subscribe for notifications on our Focus Forward page, and that'll help you be aware of anything that's coming up, and just remind you that the application process is going to be opening on June 15th, and you'll be able to access frequently asked questions. When those things are updated, we'll be able to let you know about that. And so it's really important that you make sure you're thinking about applying and getting this done. The last thing I want to add is, you think, okay, well, there's 30,000 grants. Am I going to why even bother? With the research that we've done here while we've been preparing for this, we think that there's probably about 90,000 businesses in Wisconsin that are eligible for this grant. So 1 in 3 businesses is going to be able to get a grant through this program. And so I really encourage you, put your name in, be a part of this process so that we can learn about you and you can have the chance to be eligible for this grant. It's really important that we make sure we get as many applications as we can, so we understand also the need. As we work through this process, we want to make sure we understand what's happening with Wisconsin businesses, and by applying, you'll be able to give us a window into what you're experiencing, and we'll be able to be sure to have you as part of our community of We're All In as we're creating that. So again, wedc.org is where you can put your name and your information in, so that you can get alerts and notifications about this, reminders to be ready for June 15th. I'm going to tell you one more time the documents that you'll need. You need your 2018 or 2019 income tax return. You need your W-9, which you can get at irs.gov. And then the last thing is this letter of support from a local organization. And that's the one that might take just a little bit of a phone call or a little bit of preparation. You can probably send an email to your chamber and they can help you with it. We're getting the word out to all of those organizations so that they know when these requests come in, they'll be understanding and responsive to you. So let's make sure that we start working on that between now and June 15th. And then when June 15th rolls around, you'll have a week to get your application in, but you'll be ready for it. So again, we're honored and excited to be a part of distributing these funds. We hope that the process that we've set up will work as smoothly as it can. In these rocky times, we absolutely don't want to create any stress, any more stress on you. And it's really important that we get the word out about this. So if you're not a small business, but if you're an organization that helps small businesses, if you're with the media, we'd really appreciate your help in getting the word out about this so that everyone has a chance to apply and get in the process for this. So that's it for today's FaceTime Live. We'll have more information coming, but a lot of stuff is happening on WEDC.org, and I remind you to go there. But I'm also going to remind you to go to mainstreetwi.com, mainstreetwisconsin.com, but it's abbreviated. That's where our Main Street Marketplace is. Again, we've got 230 businesses and growing all around the state that would love your business, would love for you to understand a little bit about them and what they offer as far as goods go. So again, mainstreetwi.com for our Main Street Marketplace. And I guess before I jump off, I'm going to have one more question, which is the $1 million revenue gross or net? And so that means, is it gross revenue or net revenue? And you know what? I don't know the answer to that question. So I'm going to make sure either that it's listed on our frequently asked questions or that we get that in there. But these are the types of things that will really help us ask questions and get them answered so that when the application process is open, we'll make sure we have your questions answered. So I thank you for that question, and we'll get an answer for you on our frequently asked questions. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us today. I really appreciate it. Stay safe out there in so many different ways and take care of yourselves. We look forward to continuing to work with you, and thank you for all that you do for Wisconsin.